I'm trying to get my cute, like, bookshelves in the background, but I feel like this is as good as it's gonna get. So I'm gonna give everyone a few minutes to join, and I can't wait to discuss The Paris Apartment because this book is absolutely insane. And okay, let me try to lower my tripod a little bit. I think, can I even lower this? Maybe a tad. Oh my gosh. Technical malfunctions already. Let me see. Ah! Hello. If you're joining, I'm just getting situated because I want to have my cute background with my bookshelves, but I don't know if it's gonna work that way. I just need a whole studio or something. But anyway, I can't wait to talk to you guys about The Paris Apartment. And definitely as you join, say hey in the chat. I can't wait to talk to you guys about this book and to announce the book for April, which I'm so excited about. Hey Jamie, thanks so much for joining. And I don't know about you guys, but this book was insane. I was just reading back through my notes, which I really like taking notes throughout when I'm reading the book. And then it's so fun, like, reading it before this meeting because I can remember how I felt while I was reading it. And there were so many moments that I was truly, purely shocked. Like, I had no idea what was coming, and like I can't wait to talk to you about all the twists and turns because there were a lot. And if you saw the twists coming, like, please tell us because you're like a thriller expert, because I was just like, what is even going on? So let us know in the chat how you enjoyed this book, if you thought it was like so full of twists and turns, or if you thought it was predictable. I would love to know. And also if you've read other Lucy Foley books, where you rank this, because I really loved this book, but I still think that The Hunting Party is my favorite. I don't know. I love The Guest List, I love The Hunting Party, and I loved The Paris Apartment. So you really can't go wrong with this author. But yeah, just like tell me all your thoughts, because this was a wild ride of a story. And definitely if you liked it, I would encourage you to check out Lucy Foley's other books. But yeah, like in terms of characters, I was skeptical of literally every single person. Like, I did not have a favorite character. I didn't trust anyone because I know Lucy Foley and I know that she's just so good at creating like mystery within the characters. And how like the back of it says like everyone's a suspect. That is so true, and that's what I love about her books. Like, nothing is like, I don't know, like, you just can't trust anyone or anything. So, oh, let me read Jamie's comment. And for some reason, I just always lose the comments when I do my lives on my phone. But Jamie said, The Paris Apartment was so different from the other two books, and I didn't guess the big twist, but a couple minor ones I pieced together. Yeah. You're a big reader, Jamie, and I can't wait to see if you read the book that we're picking for April. I'm so curious. But yeah, like literally I saw nothing coming. Like, I'm gonna tell you that I literally saw nothing. Let's just dive into what I think was the biggest twist, like before the ending, of course. The ending was absolutely insane, but the biggest twist, which came about midway through the book, and if you're just joining, there are spoilers. So if you did not finish reading The Paris Apartment, be warned. But oh my gosh, this twist blew my mind, and I still cannot believe it. So on page 161, I literally wrote down the page number because I was so in shock. We find out that all of like the neighbors or like the tenants of this apartment building are family. It's a family. So Nick, Mimi, Antoine are siblings, and then Sophie and Jacques or whatever are parents, are their parents. I was like, what is actually happening right now? I was so in shock. And then the concierge, we'll get to her later on, but like she ties into the family too. And it was just like, this is not an apartment building. This is like a compound. Like they are like, I don't even know why they call it apartments. I guess like to trick people to live with them. Like, and that was the other thing. Like maybe you guys picked up on this. Oh, hey Danielle, no worries at all. We're just going over how crazy it is that all the people in the apartment are a family. Like what even? And I might have missed this, so let me know if this was addressed. But do they like, why did they let Nick, or not Nick, Ben live with them? Like, I feel like they had this whole plot, but I don't know if they were plotting, to be honest. Like, why was there an empty apartment? Like, do they do this on the regular? Like, where they just get someone from their past and like let them live in this extra apartment? Like, I was so confused about, was this like a scheme that the family was up to, or was it just like they always called apartments? Like I was just weirded out that like they as a family live together, but they say that it's an apartment building and that they live in different apartments. Like, honey, you live in the same house. Like, I don't know why you're like tricking yourselves and all that, and why there was like an empty apartment, kind of sketchy. But in any case, like just the whole fact that they were an apartment, or they were a family, I did not see that coming at all whatsoever. So that was the biggest first twist in my opinion. And then as we learn like more and more and more about their like family and how like crazy it is, and like the dad is just like a puppeteer sort of, and he was not in this book at all other than like a flashback, I think. So he's like just kind of that typical rich, like uber rich dad. And oh my god, yes, Nick Miller, oh my god, yes. Okay, wait, let me try to get these chats up here. Okay, Ben and the dad had a little vibe after Ben moved in. Okay, and then Ben was digging into the family and Nick wanted to keep him close and watch him. Yes, very, very true. And that makes sense that they were like, okay, keep that guy close so we can keep an eye on him. Okay, totally makes sense. And I would definitely be curious if this was a little bit of a like habit that they had, because I wouldn't even be surprised if there was more dead bodies. You know what I'm saying? So basically I had so many theories throughout this story. So if you either wrote down your theories or you remember them, let us know as we're talking, because I was like 99% sure that Nick was the one blackmailing Sophie, because he just seemed like he was just that super nice guy type of character, and it didn't seem like he really got along with Sophie. Like no one really did. But of course we find out that Antoine was the one blackmailing his like stepmother, I guess. So it was so weird like writing down their character names in my notes, because I just think of like them as their like stereotypes, I guess. Like Sophie, I just always thought of like the rich mom. And then Nick, I just thought of as the nice guy. Ben, I just thought of him as the like dead guy, because I didn't really have a connection with him. And speaking of him, him and Sophie hooking up. Like, are you kidding me? I was convinced that Mimi murdered Ben because she saw him and her mom hooking up. Like, I was so convinced of that, you guys. I was just like, Mimi looks through those windows and Ben clearly does not use like blinds or curtains. So I was pretty sure Mimi took her obsessive love for Ben and murdered him for hooking up with her mom or whatever. But then we find out kind of the more like details of the story, I guess. Yeah. Mimi was a freak in the best way. I wrote down, Mimi is creepily obsessed with Ben. That is my exact quote. Oh my God, Danielle, Grant is listening to you as he's falling asleep. I'm sure he's used to your voice since he was in the belly. Oh my God. I can't imagine anyone falling asleep to my voice. I feel like I'm just so like not peaceful. But good night, Grant. Oh my God, so sweet. Oh yeah, and like my first kind of awareness of like there's something really sketchy going on other than the fact that this is like a thriller. But when Nick agreed to go to the police with Jess, and oh my God, Nick Miller and Jess, new girl, this is like all coming together, you guys. They went to the police together and he was like translating for her. I was like, there's no way on earth that that he is saying what she's saying to the police. Like, I just knew that he was giving some other story in French and being like, oh yeah, I'm like saying what you're saying. Like, that's when I really started to get skeptical of Nick, which I thought was a really good like moment because it was kind of obvious, but like you didn't know for sure because he did seem like a pretty nice guy in general. But then we find out he was just like saying whatever. We don't really know what he was even saying, to be honest, but we know that the police were in their pockets because of the nightclub or whatever. So, oh my gosh, I wrote down a page number and just said, great quote. So I need to look up what exactly this quote was because I need to know like immediately. Okay, let's see. All right. I don't know why I wrote that down. Okay, so this was when Jess was with the like writer Theo, and they were, I'm pretty sure at this point they were at the nightclub. And so Theo says, can I tell you something I've learned in my long and not especially illustrious career? And she says, what? And he said, when someone tells you to stop looking, it normally means you're on the right track. Oh my God, that was so good. I'm glad I wrote that down. But oh, I think that was the concierge or something that told them to stop looking. Yeah, now it's coming back to me. But yeah, so basically we find out that, and this is horrible, and it really reminded me of the show, Who Killed Sarah, I think was the show's name. It had a similar like plot line to this at like the book where like these young girls are like trafficked into a different country to be sex workers. And that like totally, like I did not see that coming, and I was like, oh my God, this took like a really serious turn. And so basically like Jess and Theo discover that when they're like infiltrating the club, and she recognizes the one girl that's like doing one of the shows, and it seemed just like sort of a, I don't know, like an undercover, I don't know, it wasn't even like they were having sex or anything like on stage, but it was like a very like sexy show that you had to like pay or like know someone to get into, but then like behind closed doors it was like really, really shady and really super, super illegal. And so the police were like, they knew about it, but they turned a blind eye because of the like wealth or whatever of this family. And so we find out, and this was like, I had to read it multiple times when this came out, that the concierge works for the family because her daughter was brought to France to be a dancer for this show, but then it turned out to be like sex trafficking. And then she got pregnant, the daughter, and had the baby, which is Mimi, the one kid in the apartment. And then her, like, the concierge's daughter died during childbirth. And of course, the like family didn't care or anything. And it was like a whole big thing because Sophie always wanted a kid, but I don't remember if she like couldn't have a child or what the situation was there, but they just didn't have a kid on their own. And so she like adopted Mimi and then just like swept under the rug that this girl who actually gave birth died. And I guess they like employed the concierge to keep her quiet. Like that's the only thing I can think of. Because that is just so devastating, and she could have went to like the police. Like she probably wouldn't have felt comfortable, or like they would believe her or not deport her. So it was just such a terrible situation, and I did not see that coming at all. And like earlier in the book, so this probably like hinted at what was going on when Mimi was like, this child like was kind of a miracle or whatever, and I just turned the other way to like not think about like the real mother. That shit was absolutely insane. And yes, the father, oh my god, the father of course is the dad. So yeah. Of course it is. So very just like twisted. And so yeah, it was hard to like write out as well. I was like, the concierge's daughter worked at club and got pregnant, and the baby is Mimi, and her daughter died during childbirth. Like, it's just such a crazy kind of thing to explain without like really explaining it fully. So yeah, the poor concierge, the poor daughter, like brought there at like for like what she thought was a great opportunity. And then of course all those other girls that were there who also were going through hell for what they thought was a good opportunity. So it's just like so tragic. And I was like, oh my gosh, this book, like this is so real and so heartbreaking. And like, to be honest, I was scared, like this is going down a really, really dark path. Like, where is this going, you know? So I thought that was like a really good part to bring into it that was like real, brings attention to something that actually happens. And then we kind of had it switched up a little bit with what is going on afterwards to make it more fictional, thank goodness. Or at least hopefully fictional. So we switching pages a little bit, but back to who was blackmailing Sophie, because I was for sure it was Nick. I was for sure it could have been Ben potentially. I thought at one point it was Mimi. And of course, the guy I didn't even think of, Antoine, that he is who was blackmailing Sophie the whole time. And it does make sense, like he was always just so like not welcoming towards her, and that he was older when she came into their lives and like knew about that she was like one of the workers at the club. So that was like shocking, and like, yeah, like I don't feel bad for Sophie, but that's pretty shocking when like your stepkid is blackmailing you and thinks you have all this money, but of course you don't, because your husband's a total asshole and would never give you money for like yourself because he doesn't want you to have any power. So yeah. Okay, and then like shit really hit the fan in the last like 30, 40, 50 pages. It was like so insane. I would definitely reread this book because so much happened. So I thought that they had killed the concierge because she was like laying on the ground and like Jess went up to her and like she was basically dead. Oh, and a side note that I totally forgot about this, but remember like Antoine's wife like ran away with Mimi's roommate Camille or whatever? I was like, what? That was like such a minor detail, but I was like, hold up. Like, I did not see that coming at all. And how Camille was like, is that her name, Camille? I feel like it was Camille. She was like, I like don't hook up anymore, blah, blah, blah. And Mimi was like, what? Like, why? And she's like, I'm a one woman, like woman or whatever. And like her and Antoine's wife ran away together. Like that like shocked me so much. But that was like so glazed over. Like I can't even remember if there was like a big like moment there. Danielle said, I think it's framed so you're supposed to feel bad for Sophie, but I also don't feel bad for her. I know, like, I kind of slightly might feel bad for her, but like, I just don't care about Sophie at all. Like, she's just so mean through and through. Like, in her situation, like, you would think that she would be more like empathetic towards people that went through a similar thing to her, but she just took advantage of the situation, and it's like hard to say. So, oh my gosh, the audiobook pronounces Camille. Oh wow, I feel fancier already. This would be a really good book with like an audiobook because of the different characters. Ooh. I do have another Audible credit. I need to pick what book to listen to. Jamie, let me know like what book I should listen to next for Audible, because I don't really know what to listen to next. So I thought they tried to kill the concierge. They did kind of try to. They pushed her down the stairs. Antoine did. But of course Nick was there looking guilty as hell. So, I mean, I don't really believe anything Nick says, so it could have been him. Who knows? And then, holy crap, at the end of the book, it was like boom, 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 crazy shit after crazy shit. So Ben is alive. He has been alive since day one of this book, and he is in that little attic where Sophie went up there like within the first like 50 pages when her and Jess like came like into connection at the cafe or whatever. And Sophie took up like a quiche or something to this like attic room. I was like, who's up there? Who's up there, you know? But I totally forgot about it, which I'm sure that's what they were hoping. And Ben is freaking in there, barely alive. Like literally how he did not bleed out, I will never know. How he didn't like, what is that called? Like get dehydrated, and like die, you know? So anyway, I am just shocked that Ben is alive, but he's alive in the attic. And yes, I am going to, let me see. Jen, I am going to answer the questions people put on. Yes, I'm going to put those answers and I'm going to answer them myself on Instagram. And Danielle said the maid's quarters were always shadowy and sketchy to me. Yes, anything could have happened in those quarters, you know? So we find out he's alive. Then there's like everyone kind of congregates in this area. And Jess is like, what is going on, you know, like what is happening. Hey Christine, oh my god, so happy to have you here. And so they like explain that I can't even like remember all the details, to be honest. That's what happens when I read the book at the like beginning of the month. I like lose the details. So basically Ben was almost killed, and by Jacques, which is the father, because he found out that Sophie and Ben were hooking up. And so Mimi comes in, always watching Mimi. She comes in and kills her dad. She fucking kills her dad. And so it was like, I wouldn't say in self-defense, but like she was saving Ben, but like she straight up murdered her dad. And that was like so insane to me. Like, they just covered up Jacques' death like completely. So, of course, Sophie would never tell the boys, Nick and Antoine, that their father was dead. So she was like, they like rolled him up or something in like a rug or like sheets or something. And they were like, Ben's dead. Like, take him and bury him. Little did Nick and Antoine know that was their father. And wow, like that is just like, it shakes me to my core. Like that they had no idea who they were burying. Like they just like were so freaked out that they just did it. They didn't even like check. Like I would never check, but now I'm gonna if someone asks me to bury a body. But I hope no one does, and I would not be part of that anyway. But I'm just saying you should double check who it is before you bury them. So they buried their dad in the courtyard, which is a million times disturbing. That is like their yard. Like they, oh my God. So, Ben's alive. He's clearly well enough to like continue living. And Jacques is dead. So everyone's like reeling, like especially the sons, because they had no idea they actually buried their own father and that Mimi killed him. And like Sophie covered all of it up. Like it is just, how could you ever, like they already didn't trust each other and now it's even worse. And like, oh my gosh, it's just insane to think about. So that all happened. That was a wild ride. And then, instead of like, I don't know, going to the police or something, Jess convinced Sophie to let her and Ben go and to give money to the girls that are at the club against their will, to start new lives before the article that like Ben and Theo were writing comes out to expose them. So basically it gives them a chance to like kind of not cover things up, but like get into the best possible situation. And then Sophie is going to be like this hero of the story and Jacques is going to be like the villain, and it will kind of cover up her part in the story, or at least make it seem better than it is. So like, what even, you guys? And I'm sure I missed details because like I said, I read this a while ago. So if I missed anything, please remind us or remind me in the chat, because it was such a crazy ending. And like, I did not see it coming that they killed their dad. Like, yeah, I noticed he wasn't in the book, but I was like he's like a busy rich guy. Like, I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't be around anyway, but it's because he was dead. Like, oh my God. So I loved this book. I like, I'm so glad we read this together because I love like discussing thrillers with you guys. And like I said at the beginning of the live, if you haven't read Lucy Foley's other books, The Hunting Party and The Guest List, check them out if you loved this book, because it's like she always has a very similar like setup where everyone's like a suspect and you can't trust anyone. I absolutely love that. So she's a great author. I would always like pick up her next book, and this just came out, so who knows when the next one will come out, but like I'm always waiting for the next Lucy Foley. And I really, really loved this. So loved it, definitely would recommend it, and I'm glad you guys seem to like it as well. Let me just make sure I'm caught up on all the comments. Oh, Jamie said, was anyone else suspicious of Theo after reading A Flicker in the Dark? Oh my god, good point. That was another great book. I need to reread that too. I have that on my shelf of books that I'm keeping because I'm like pretty brutal with getting rid of books, but this is a good one. A Flicker in the Dark is a great one. Yes, Danielle, you have to read Lucy Foley's other books. And yeah, can't wait to see what she comes out with next. So thank you guys for participating in that conversation, and I am so, so, so excited for our April book, which is like, I like to switch up the genres every month because I know not everyone's into thrillers, not everyone's into like historical fiction, not everyone's into whatever. That's part of the reason I asked the questions on my Instagram today. So if you didn't answer those, please answer them on my stories because I want to know like what you guys are into and like what books you would love to read in our book club. So the April book is an older book. I have never read it, and I just never looked into what this book was about. And once I read what it's about, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to read it. So we are going to read in April The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right, but it's The Heart's Invisible Furies, and it was the 2017 Book of the Month, Book of the Year. So like every year, Book of the Month does like an awards, and this was the Book of the Year for 2017. So I wrote down like the kind of like teaser that this book has. So from the beloved New York Times bestselling author of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, The Heart's Invisible Furies is a sweeping, heartfelt saga about the course of one man's life beginning and ending in post-war Ireland. Cyril Avery is not a real Avery, or at least that's what his adoptive parents tell him, and he never will be. But if he isn't a real Avery, then who is he? Born out of wedlock to a teenage girl cast out from her rural Irish community and adopted by a well-to-do, albeit eccentric Dublin couple, Cyril is adrift in the world, anchored only tenuously by his heartfelt friendship with the infinitely more glamorous and dangerous Julian Woodbead. At the mercy of fortune and coincidence, Cyril will spend a lifetime coming to know himself and where he came from, and over his many years will struggle to discover an identity, a home, a country, and much more. The Heart's Invisible Furies is a novel that will make you laugh and cry while reminding us all of the redemptive power of the human spirit. Oh my god, so I'm so excited to read it, and if you've read it before, I would encourage you to read it again with us or just to participate in the conversation at the end of April, because I think that this book will have a lot of meat and a lot to discuss, and it just seems like from the reviews that I saw, it's just such a powerful story, and just the fact that it won like Book of the Year definitely makes it seem like it's really like widely loved. So I'm super, super excited to read that with you guys. Definitely let me know if you've read it before. But like I said, I would love if you participated in the conversation anyhow. And yeah, so that is going to be it for this month's book club discussion. I appreciate you guys being here so much, especially since I had to change at the last minute yesterday. I was like dead to the world yesterday. I couldn't have done this at all. So I really, really appreciate you bearing bearing with the time change and hanging with me on a Friday night. So now you can go enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Me and Alyssa are gonna have margs. I already had a marg, gonna have more margs and watch reality TV. I'm just so excited about it. But yeah, I hope you guys all have an amazing weekend. I'm so glad Grant is asleep, Danielle. And yeah, I just hope you guys are all doing well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.